What if Mount St. Helens erupted yesterday? This is QED. I'm Joey.
And I'm Eric.
And I'm Josh.
In this scenario, the devastation was exactly as it was predicted, with the radius of major destruction 100 kilometers wide or something to that effect. And the breadbasket, the heartland of America, has been completely destroyed. As it stands, all the buildings in this part of the Midwest where we happen to live, all these buildings are intact for the most part, or at least the big ones are, the ones made out of brick, like the ones that we live in. They're okay. But all the crops, decimated. The sky is filled with ash. What do we do? Isn't that a great question?
That
is a good question.
That is a great question.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. I suppose the first thing, so it erupted yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and all of this has happened within the span of 24 hours, basically?
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we?
We're here.
We're here.
We're here.
Yeah.
Dead people. How many dead people?
Hundreds of thousands, millions,
Okay.
tens of millions, maybe.
Do we know how many are alive here?
Here?
Here.
Most of them, like 2/3, maybe 3/4.
Okay.
Everyone who wasn't outside is okay.
Oh, well, that's why we're okay.
And it happened at night.
Okay.
So all
That's
the drunk
why-
people are dead.
So all the people
Well,
who
that
went
makes
to all the people who went to the bar
they're all dead.
to get freaky.
They're all dead.
They
Yes.
died. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But everyone who was indoors is okay, because the first wave of ash, basically acted like a shockwave and just blew through everyone who was outside. So everything is covered in an inch-thick layer of ash.
It's gonna make it tricky to breathe.
Yeah, that is going to make it tricky to breathe.
Yeah. So the first thing we're probably gonna want to do is find some way to keep breathing.
Some medical masks or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, I've got medical masks.
All right, so
Oh.
we've got medical masks.
Okay.
That's the
We
first
are
step.
good.
That's the first step.
Then we need food.
All right, we've got a vending machine in this building. You've got a vending machine in your building.
Correct.
That's not a lot of food,
That is not a lot of food.
especially considering that everyone who was inside, so the majority of the people here, are still alive.
Yes.
So that's hundreds and hundreds of people that need to be fed.
Yep.
How do we feed them? I mean, I'm going to operate under the assumption here that the company that provides the food for where we live is basically going to drop the ball. Because, I mean, it's a major emergency.
Right. It's a disaster.
Yeah. It's a super disaster. A mega disaster.
Yes.
A mega volcano erupts. What happens then? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to deliver food on time.
Yep.
Which means that there's not going to be any food here after
Correct.
a day.
Yes.
So at this point, things have probably descended into chaos, right? I mean, people want food.
Yeah, people want food and people want to go home. And the people whose homes are in the Northwest or even on the West Coast, they're in shock or grieving because their homes are gone. Their homes are in the middle of a smoking crater. In the middle of a smoking crater bigger than the state of Texas.
It's a big crater.
Yeah. Or just outside that crater, but also covered in a foot of ash. So
Yeah.
still not happy.
Yeah. Still doesn't.
Yeah.
Still isn't good.
But there's enough food in here for about 3 days.
Okay.
Assuming the three of us. No, wait, that's not 3 days. That's 2 days. I'm sorry, I gave you false hope.
All right.
Good.
So we've got enough for 2 days worth, and we've got water as well.
Right. and since I actually haven't made my Walmart run yet to recover all of the items that I've eaten and drank over the last week or less, really, I don't have any food with me, and I don't have any water, so I would have to borrow yours. Borrow in air quotes.
Yeah. There's more food if there's power. I mean, I guess we could eat dried noodles, but that would be a little awkward.
Yeah, there are generators here. There are generators here, and there's fuel on hand for the generators in case of an emergency. The thing is, the generators can only stay on for a few days at most. And we have solar panels and a windmill, whatever you want to call it here.
Unfortunately, the solar panels.
The solar panels are covered in ash.
Exactly.
And even if you brush the ash off,
The sky
is
still
filled with ash.
Yeah, so it doesn't
So-
work.
Provided the wind turbine still works, which we can't guarantee.
Nope.
Then we have roughly, 1/16 of the amount of power that we normally would.
The windmill's like a third of the power. I
When
think.
it's running at full capacity.
Yeah.
Which it probably wouldn't be in a mega disaster scenario. You can't count on it running at full power.
Yeah.
So really, what we need is to get out of here. Here's no good.
All right. So where do we go?
The roads are the roads clear?
Well, the roads are covered in an inch of ash, but an inch of ash is like an inch of snow. You can drive over it.
Yeah. So assuming nobody else has stolen your car,
Yeah, assuming nobody has stolen my car, we have a vehicle that can seat 4 people, 5 at most, but sacrificing some ability to bring things with us.
Yeah.
And what else? We have my vehicle, and as far as people we know, we've got a couple of people that we know who have vehicles as well. But the thing is, there might be enough seats in the vehicles in the parking lots for all of the people here, but there are not enough people who are willing to share their vehicles with other people. There will be a surplus of people who are looking for a ride.
are we out to save others or ourselves?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Uh,
I think that in some ways, we should probably try to help as much as we can.
well, how much is as much as we can? Are we helping as much as we can within reason,
Yeah.
or are we giving up our own? Are we giving up our own way to get out of here faster and find someplace better to be, to stay and help other people to do better here? Because the transportation to get out of here is not here.
Yes.
We won't be able to get everyone out.
Yeah.
So do we go and come back, or do we stay? And you said that going makes a lot of sense.
We're not gonna get any more. We're probably not gonna get much food here. I wouldn't think.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have some food
I
and
mean-
some drinks, but
So we could camp out here for a while, but I can't imagine that there's gonna be much food service because they're probably gonna want people to be going.
Yeah.
right.
I mean, I imagine people are going to be leaving as it is.
Yeah. That brings back the question of going where, because at this stage, roughly half of the continental U.S. is covered in ash. Pretty much everything from where we are west.
The east is going to be really busy.
The east is going to be very busy.
We start practicing our lives as mole people.
I think we should buy a shrimping boat.
What?
Like you mean in Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
When
Yeah, I
they
think
just-
that's the way to go.
You think so?
We'll sail down the Mississippi like Huck Finn and then buy a shrimping boat like Forrest Gump.
Well, I mean, here's my take on that, pretending for a moment that it isn't completely irrational, the Mississippi River, the part of it that's basically from Missouri south, that part isn't going to get hit with ash immediately. The problem is, everything from where we are north will. So that means that there's going to be basically a log jam made out of ash that is inches thick coming down the river.
So what you're saying is,
And it'll probably take like days for it to pass from bottom to top.
So no shrimp.
So no water, is what I'm saying.
Well,
So down's probably not a great idea. South that is probably not.
Well, no, south is
maybe-
a good idea, but south by river is not.
That's true.
yeah.
There's the option of so we west is not an option. West is a bad option.
West is not an option, and because of geography, north is also not a good option.
So,
Because north is just as far away from north is just as close to the original site or closer as would west be. South and east are pretty much our only options.
Canada's probably not going to let us in.
Canada's north of here.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that's probably not a good reason to go north. They probably won't let us in.
well, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
it might
Canada-
be, or they might.
Canada would be
think.
suffering the same fate as the U.S. though,
That's true.
It's true.
because I don't really know what the land area of Canada is truly, because the only maps that I've ever seen are very North America and specifically U.S. centric or very Eurocentric. So if I'm thinking about it that way, maybe a third or a quarter or maybe even half of Canada is also in an emergency. So they can't
That's true.
help.
So east and south.
East and south.
We moved to Florida. Good jobs is, something. And then retire.
I don't want
30.
to move to Florida.
I don't really want to move to Florida either.
Neither do I.
Can we not move to Florida? Is that an option?
Yeah, I mean, I just picked Florida because, it's the
It's south
sunshine.
and east.
It's the sunshine state, obviously. Right?
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
we should pick a state and just kind of live there.
I don't know, Georgia?
Sure, why
Well,
not?
Is life really so shattered at this point that like where we go we put down roots and get jobs and then
I live north
retire.
of here. If Mount St. Helens erupts, my house doesn't exist. Nor does my family.
well yeah, I'm just saying like is
Your family might fare better because you live east of here.
yes, not by
But
much.
my family's gone, so's his.
Well, actually, they would be okay because
What's
they're
it?
not north of here right now.
Oh,
They're actually down in Florida.
okay.
Oh.
Asshole.
Sorry, hey, you were the one that said yesterday, okay?
But I mean I think the point still stands. Like
Mhm.
is society at this point so shattered that things cannot go back to normal?
And
At
my,
least in some sense. And maybe for you
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can't. But like
my
the general
assertion,
population
though, is with the number of people who live in California being what it is, half the population is either dead or out of a home or missing relatives, close relatives.
this is true.
Yeah.
No, things cannot go back to the way they were, or at the very least, not within the next decade.
It'll take time.
A lot of time.
Yeah. And a lot of good planning.
Mm-hmm. And that's provided we don't all starve to death because the Midwest is gone.
Which is why I think the water's a good option because we can go fishing.
Well,
Like I said, the water's covered in ash. Or at least it will be for a few days until the ash
You were right.
stuff gets past.
We move to Georgia as an entertainment group, and we start rebuilding Hollywood in Georgia.
At least it's not New York.
Yeah, at least
That's
it's
how
not-
we'll advertise it too.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, at least it's not New York.
Yeah. You know what? I bet a lot of people would be. I bet a lot of people would move there. We'd create a huge, booming media industry in Georgia.
And then it would go to bust because that happens.
Well, yeah, but
And
it would
then
take a while.
yeah, it would take a
Like,
while.
it would
We do
follow
a-
the market cycle, and there would be at least a decade of peace and prosperity in Georgia.
And we could start investing, a little more into the rebuilding of the nation.
Uh-huh. The
Just
clearing of the ash from the grounds of the Midwest to begin farming anew.
Yeah, to basically rebuild the Midwest, be like the pioneers, except we're nothing like the pioneers.
Yeah, because like they had muskets and knives, and we have money and ash.
That ash is really an important difference.
Yeah, they had trees.
Yes.
We have ash.
We have ash.
They had rivers and lakes.
Well,
We
know
have
what?
rivers and lakes covered in ash.
Well, you know what? We could think of ways to turn that ash into something useful,
Like what?
like modern art.
Modern art is not useful. Modern art is the opposite of useful.
Okay, we could start investing in science and research into ways to transform the ash into something that's more useful.
Like what?
I have no idea. I'm not a scientist. That's why I pay other people.
Okay. So is that what we're going with?
But so we're just moving out east, and that's
Well, we're moving out east and south.
yeah. Well, Georgia.
Yeah,
Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah, and we're just gonna be content with that. Like that just it doesn't seem.
Okay, well, what do you want to do?
You know I guess I just have this idea in my head
Because-
that I really want to go somewhere that's north.
Why do
I
you
don't
want to
know
go
why.
north?
Okay, fine.
Where north?
You?
I mean, yeah, it would work.
I mean, I would suggest going to New York first and then getting a boat from New York to Greenland
Right.
because that makes more sense than trying to go through Canada.
It's true.
or we could do.
Especially since I don't know, but you probably don't have your passport on you.
I do not have a passport
Like in the slightest.
in the slightest.
Okay, that's a.
Then my
big-
suggestion is to get a passport
That's a good
once
idea.
you get to New York.
It's a very good idea.
How hard is it going to be to get a passport after this mega disaster, though?
How hard is it going to be to get to New York after this mega disaster?
Good point.
Because, I mean, as we're recording, oil prices have dropped precipitously
Yes.
recently. And there's basically an oil glut going on. And I'm pretty sure that that glut will basically cease since North Dakota is one of the mining sites that they're doing the fracking in.
Yes.
So
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that'll
yeah.
scare all the oil companies out of offering cheap oil anytime soon.
Yep.
So within a few days, if not immediately, gas prices are probably going to double or triple.
All the more reason to move to Georgia and start that media conglomerate.
Yeah, but I have half a tank of gas.
Valid point.
So on a wing and a prayer, I could get us to just west of Josh's house.
We
Just on this side of the Mississippi.
Okay, well we could
And from there we could maybe get gas.
maybe.
Because I do have cash.
Well, and we'd be near where I live too, which would have at least some gas.
And there's a reason I'm not talking about using a credit card, because I don't have a credit card. I do have a debit card. The bank that debit card is for is in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
So provided the building still stands, they don't have power. no servers means no.
Yeah. This just.
I think we have to find our inner Darwin Award and start siphoning gas using our mouths.
I will not volunteer to do that.
I thought you were gonna say something clever about like evolution, but then it was about siphoning gas.
Well, he said Darwin Award.
Oh,
not
Darwin Award.
Yeah,
not
I know.
Darwin.
You started saying
Darwin.
Darwin Award.
And it's
Our
very,
inner
it's very
Darwin.
applicable here. After half the country is covered in ash, we're gonna see some great new species. You know, if we can manage to.
Here's a rather vengeful thought. All of the people who are praising Obama's new, whatever they're called, I don't think it was an executive order, several tens of thousands of acres of Californian desert. All that desert's under a layer of ash now. A lot of good that presidential decree did.
We should
true.
buy a shovel and we should start digging up the ash.
Where?
We're gonna start right
We
at the
start-
very edge.
We start with
You see,
yes.
that makes sense. If you start at the edge, that makes sense. You know what I was afraid you would say? We start here. Because that doesn't make sense.
That
Well,
doesn't.
we're in Georgia.
Okay, we moved to Georgia. Wait,
Okay.
you're satisfied with that now?
Well,
I thought you wanted to
I've-
go to Greenland.
I've accepted my fate. We're in Georgia.
Okay.
I
Greenland's.
can understand why Georgia wouldn't be your first pick.
I mean, because going through New York and then to Greenland is a
But
better
only
idea.
after procuring a passport.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nobody has to know, right? I'll just,
Um,
once the world has
Greenland's
collapsed,
not
I'll show up in.
Well, here's the thing. There's no guarantee that the world will collapse, just that everything west of the Mississippi will.
It's
Yes.
Except Louisiana. Louisiana's fine.
true.
And
They'll endure.
most of Texas is fine. The Texas coast is fine.
Texas is tough.
You know, I mean, we're kind of screwed too. Once the zombie apocalypse starts, Georgia's kind of out of the picture as well.
Well, I mean,
Wait, what?
That's where The Walking Dead takes place.
Oh.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so
well,
I don't know. Just when do you ever hear anything bad happening in Greenland?
have you seen rare exports?
I have-
Although
I
I
have
think that
not.
might be Finland.
let's be honest here. Greenland, like, nobody knows what goes on there.
Isn't the
so-
population of Greenland like 53,000 people?
Yes.
It's very small.
Yes. It's 53,000 people. That's not a lot of people, and you, quite frankly, don't speak any Icelandic languages.
It's true.
You only
You don't speak any Nordic language at all.
Yeah. Neither do we.
I mean, a lot of the Nordic languages are quasi-Germanic in origin, so you and I would be kind of okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kind of.
The Icelandic and the Norwegian words for welcome are I believe they're
Velkommen.
willkommen or
Willkommen.
welcome, which
Willkommen.
is very close to the German willkommen.
Yeah.
If we're concerned, if we want to get outside the country, and we're concerned about language, frankly, I think south is the way to go because
You're the
assume-
only one here who knows Spanish.
Yes, but I know Spanish. You know what is possibly a basis for a language in a country near Canada?
Or
So
we
I-
could go to Germany.
We could. That's a really big ocean.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah.
But you know that going to Greenland requires either going through Canada or crossing about half as much ocean as going to mainland Europe.
Yeah.
Or we could just, stay in Georgia and kind of just go for it.
I mean, yeah. You know, the
Yeah.
thing is, Georgia just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's just so down to earth. It's not satisfying in a way because everything's just peachy. If you'll pardon the pun, it wasn't intentional. I promise.
don't even know if I'm going to accept that right now.
I mean,
This is serious, Josh. Millions or maybe even tens of millions of people are dead.
here's the thing.
I know we're gonna. Need,
I don't think Georgia's
we're
gonna be all
need some
peachy
laughter
keen.
somewhere.
Like it's not gonna be as simple as any of us imagine it will be. It'll probably be crazy down there because a lot
That's
of
very
people
true.
will be moving around because where else are they gonna go?
The federal government will probably try to set up some sort of disaster relief in
Yeah.
on the East Coast. Well, what do we do about that? Do we seek out one of those refuge centers, or do we ignore it because it's kind of a trap in a way? I mean, you sit there and wait for them to do what?
Also, I
Provide
imagine
relief in quotation marks.
I imagine the treatment can't be that good. There's going to be a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, provided they even manage to evacuate all the people who need evacuation, that's going to be maybe 50, 60 million people. Maybe
Yeah.
less, maybe 40 million people.
Yeah. I think
There's no room on the East Coast for 40 million people,
that's
in addition
true.
to what they already have.
That's true. I think, you know, we would go. We'd probably just stay. If we get to Georgia, we'd probably just stay there because at least we could get some kind of jobs there. Something. Like Josh could do some programming or.
I feel like the market for my skills post Mount St. Helens eruption could actually there could be a lot of potential there. I mean, science and computers in
Computer science, if you will.
Yeah.
har.
Har.
I feel like there could be quite a need for that when
Yeah.
they're trying to get the United States and Canada
They would take me
back
as well.
on their feet.
I mean, that would even
It's-
take me. I don't even know that much, but if I'm working on a team with you two, you can help me fill in the blanks.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna start our new Hollywood, if you will, we're gonna need somebody with business acumen. Hello, look, you have
A
business.
management major.
All right, yep, perfect. It's brilliant.
People are gonna want entertainment.
Yeah, they're gonna want our quality content.
Their world has just crumbled in front of them. They need something to keep their spirits up.
They need some idiots who came out of a college and to tell them what's going down.
Yeah.
This has been the first episode of QED. What if Mount St. Helens erupted yesterday? With Joey.
And Eric.
And Josh.
Thank you for listening.